Happy Tuesday!
My name is Alan.
My name's Nick.
And welcome
Into the dungeon.
In the month of Flame Rule of the year 1492 DR, the city of Waterdeep, also known as the City of Splendors, wakes up to a refreshing shore breeze that carries the scent of the sea with it and makes the summer temperatures bearable. The city's watch, dressed in their unmistakable green and goldenrod coloured uniforms, already patrol the wards of Waterdeep on high alert as an increase in tensions between two local gangs has seen violence spill on the streets. Carriages, buggies, hire coaches, and Waterdeep's signature towering drays begin to transport Waterdavians from their homes to their different places of work. As the sun rises, its warm golden rays begin to illuminate the city's rooftops and streets. The tranquility of the morning is momentarily interrupted by the sound of a wagon coming to a halt at the side of the high road, where it intersects with the trades and castle wards. With purposeful steps, a man steps down from the wagon and heads towards the back to retrieve a package, ready to complete his delivery to one of the two-story houses in the blocks that line the high road on the trades ward side. With the package under one arm, he knocks on a door with the other, its flaking green paint revealing the wooden grain beneath it. A few moments pass as the delivery man begins to whistle a somber tune, which is cut short when the clank of heavy locks being opened sound from the other side of the door. The man straightens up and holds a package with both hands in front of him. The door gives off a slow, high-pitched creak as it opens inwards, revealing a small old gnome behind it. The gnome is dressed in a coarse green hooded robe. Purple inner lining is roughly stitched, and the long sleeves are slightly frayed at the ends. His long white pointed beard reaches his midriff and covers his whole face. A set of circular spectacles that are balancing on top of his large round nose make his small beady eyes seem larger than they are. He wears a purple pointed cone hat over his white medium-length hair, which frames his deep, wrinkled face. He rubs the length of his beard and says,
"Hello. I was not expecting any deliveries today. Are you certain you have the right house?"
The delivery man looks down at the package briefly and looks up again.
"Is your name Obin?"
Yes.
"Then this is the right house. All charges have been paid for. We just require your signature."
The delivery man produces a parchment of paper and signals to it. Obin mutters something under his breath and waves his hand. A few seconds later, a pen dipped in ink appears from within the house and begins to float above the parchment. In a flourish, it signs the parchment and slowly drifts back inside. The delivery man nods in satisfaction and hands the package over to Obin.
Thank you. And here are 2 silver pieces for your trouble."
Obin holds the package under one arm to free both his hands as he pushes the old, creaky door closed with some difficulty. He then steps onto a nearby stool that helps him reach the heavy iron locks that close with a heavy clank. Softly, he hops off the stool, walks a few paces behind a tall counter table that commands this room, and places a package into one of the several drawers beneath it. This is his shop front where he sells his crafts. The counter displays his most desired wares, a myriad of ornate flasks and bottles containing all manner of magical concoctions. A large stack of shelves behind the counter contains everything needed for crafting potions, from empty bottles to dried bundles of herbs and any other related miscellania. Obin turns and heads through a door at the back of the shop front that leads into his dining room. He settles at a large table on his favorite chair as he waits for his breakfast to be served. The first floor to Obin's home also contains his private study, where he routinely practices his craft, a well-equipped kitchen, where his bodyguard is currently fixing up breakfast, and a very lavish bathroom. The dining room has a set of wooden stairs that leads to the second floor, where Obin's and his scribe's living quarters can be found. Bedroom windows face eastwards towards Lamp Street and are afforded the gentle warmth of the morning sun shining through. In one such room we find Obin's housemate and scribe, Arfharim.
Arfharim is a dignified yet weary half-elf, his once vibrant blue eyes now carrying the weight of over a century of knowledge and experience. His face is lined with age, though elven blood has slowed its toll. His long silver hair, tied back in a ponytail, cascades over his scholar's cloak, and a well-groomed beard gives him the appearance of a wizened sage, even though he's just a mere scribe. His attire is more practical than grand, fine but well-worn robes in muted greens and blues, marked with ink stains from years of transcribing spells and potions for Obin. His fingers are calloused from endless writing, and he's surrounded by parchment, quills, and tomes of lore. As he sits at his desk, Arfharim is writing his memoirs in a fine leather book.
My name is Arfharim Half-Elven. There is not much I remember of my early childhood years, more so at the ripe age of 120 years. That would make me 60 years old, were I to have been fully human, I'd have you know. Yet my mother's elven blood, which runs through my veins in harmony with the human blood of my father, means that I am blessed, or perhaps cursed, to live another 60 years or so. What I do remember was that my parents were honest, hard-working people who tilled the lands and gathered harvest for the grain lord of Triel. That's the village that I was born in, yes, or at least the village that the farm we lived on served. After all these years, alas, I've yet to return. I feel it would cause me too much pain, and in any way, the last I heard it was part of the kingdom of Eldgard, so I do not know if it even exists anymore. I was told by our carers at the orphanage, where my sister Tamrin and I grew up, that when the fever had consumed my father, she and I were only 4 or 5 years old. I vaguely remember them saying that my mother had travelled to the east, to a great city of her kin. As an old half-elf now, I understand that to have been Myth Dranor. Our carers had said it would be too dangerous for us to travel with her, and that she had assured us that she would return for us within the 10 days to take us safely to live amongst her people. I still have a very faint memory of her leaving us in the care of some farmhands. And that was the last I ever heard or saw of her. The 10th 10-day came and went, as did several others. The farmhands were unable to care for us, and also tend to the lands. And so we were left at an orphanage in the nearby city of Elturel, where Tammy and I spent the rest of our childhood in the hope that our mother would one day return. That day, though, never came. Instead, in our early teens, we were adopted by a dwarven woman by the name of Glathager. She took us to the great city of Baldur's Gate, where we learned that she was working on behalf of the Flaming Fist, a mercenary company. We were to serve there and tend to their basic needs, running errands in exchange for a roof above our heads, food in our bellies, and some modest coin. They, and Tammy and I never knew our family name, and so they called us by our heritage. I became Arfharim Half-Elven, and my sister Tamrin Half-Elven. Glathager always joked that my name was Arfharim, because I was half an elf, and half a human. Glathager always took care of us, and made sure that the Flaming Fist treated us well. She became much like a mother to Tamrin and I. Indeed, she wept like a mother for the loss of her child, and almost as much as I did on that fateful day. We must have been about 20 years old at the time, with our whole lives still ahead of us. After about 6 years of serving on the Flaming Fist, we were to accompany a small group aboard a ship, the Brimstone, to get our first taste of adventure on the high seas. Those damn high seas and those infernal open waters. Of course we were not to see the action ourselves, merely only assist the men and women of the Flaming Fist. On the 3rd day of our expedition, a raging storm broke the silence of the night, keeling the Brimstone and throwing all on board into the dark, cold waters of the Sea of Swords. I remember hitting the water, and then opening my eyes some moments later, deep beneath the surface. My eyes frantically searched for my sister in the dark, as my lungs felt as if they would burst, just as I thought my chest would collapse, and the Sea of Swords would take me to its depths. There, I saw her, my Tammy, lifeless, and sinking towards the seabed. And then this surge of power I'd never felt before flowed throughout my being, and with renewed vigor, I was able to get to Tammy and bring her to the surface. But alas, it was too late. Tamrin Half-Elven, my sister, the last of my family, was gone. I was never the same after that day. Something had changed deep within me. I felt as if the weave flowed through and within me. I could somehow bend it to my will in moments of stress or anger, which usually resulted in strange and unpredictable effects taking place. Once, my entire skin turned blue, I'd have you know, and Glathaga had to pay for the services of a holy man to remove the curse. Another time, Glathaga started to fly before my eyes after an argument led to a beam of crackling energy shooting forth from my fingertips. Confused and concerned for the safety of Glathaga, I decided to leave the flaming fists against her wishes and to make my own way in the world. I took what little belongings I had and traveled the road for several years, often living in solitude as a hermit before I eventually settled in the city of Waterdeep. Here, I met Obin, a local gnome wizard who took me in as his scribe. It was he who taught me how to control the wild magic I had deep within me. With time, I learned to master emotions and magic better, with only the occasional mishap. Obin taught me that unlike those who get their magic through a god, a patron, or through laborious study as he had, my magic raged wild within me. Since then, I've been helping Obin transcribe his spells, prepare his potions, and be his messenger in interactions with the guards and lords of Waterdeep, with whom he has good standing. Since settling in Waterdeep, I have kept in touch with Glathaga in writing, and she has been up to visit me on a couple of occasions. However, the last visit was now over 20 years ago. It is a dangerous trip, and neither she nor I will travel by ship following Tamrin's death. As long as 20 years may sound for a human, for a half-elf and a dwarf, it's not so bad. Last week, for my 120th birthday, Obin gifted me a beautiful hand-carved staff from wood he said had come from the brimstone itself, the last place my sister and I had been together in this life. A very thoughtful and touching gift, knowing my love for nature, and in particular small birds. He also gifted me a small birdhouse to hang off its hook top, which to my further surprise, came with its own little inhabitant, a beautiful female black bird with a beak as orange as a flame. I've lovingly named her Tammy, in honor of my sweet Tamrin. Having now spent a little time with this wonderful gift, I can sense some magic within it. However, despite my attempts to understand it, or even get its secrets from Obin, all he will tell me is that one day will protect me if I am ever in grave danger. I'm not sure what this means, but we have lived together for decades, indeed almost a century now to be more accurate, and there is yet to be a moment of grave danger. Then again, he has been acting a little odd of late, even for a gnome. Perhaps that foolish Wilbur, the human boy that has now failed his application to join the guards for the umpteenth time, has finally got Obin to the end of his wits in his persistence for a letter of recommendation. He seems to mean well though, and he has been going out of his way to help Obin and I with anything he can. I've seen the boy train. He's not bad, to be honest, but it is difficult to make a city guard.
As Arfharim is there writing about his past and his history, he's suddenly interrupted when Obin calls out for him.
Arfharim! Come here, boy!
Just a minute, Obin!
You can hear that he's calling from downstairs, from the dining room.
Okay, so I put down my quill, grab my staff, and start making my way downstairs.
Oh yes, Obin. What would you have of me?
Oh, Arfharim, boy. Well, I've got an errand for you. I need you to go to the local library, up the road, and fetch me a book. Yes, it is titled A Study on Devils, Demons, and a Contract with Mortals. The author eludes me, but I'm sure Susanna, the librarian, has a copy of the book in her library.
Susanna, you said?
Yes, Susanna. Good old Susanna.
You know Susanna well from your multiple errands to the library and from your time spent studying there.
Would this book seem odd to Arfharim compared to the other books that Obin has had him fetch over the years?
Not odd particularly because, as you said before, he's been acting strange and he's started to perhaps delve into different topics that he wouldn't have normally maybe 10 years ago. But it's been a common theme for Obin. He spends a lot of time in his study and not necessarily crafting like he used to, but perhaps studying more of this type of thing.
Okay.
Oh, I can smell something wonderful coming from the kitchen. Is it time for a spot of breakfast before we go? Sausages.
Obin pauses a second as he hears you say that, and he seems to reflect upon something. He nods at you and calls.
Wilb, bring breakfast at once, and come join us.
You know Wilbur well. He's working for Obin as his personal guard. He's a human in his early 20s, but his big round blue eyes and rosy cheeks that frame his button-like nose make him appear much younger. Anyone meeting him for the first time would think he was 12 years of age, especially when he starts talking, if it wasn't for his big, brown beard that he grows and keeps meticulously groomed. He's also quite tall and rotund, making his chain armor barely fit him. He carries a long sword and a shield, and a long bow and quiver on his back at all times, as he has sworn to protect Obin from danger. And he also helps around the house from time to time. He's hell-bent in proving, as Arfharim wrote down on his memoirs, that he's Waterdeep City Watch material.
Well, get away! We don't have all morning! Come in!
You hear Wilbur shout from within the kitchen, almost immediately followed by a crash of pots and pans and crockery.
I don't know what you see in that boy, Obin.
Be good to him, Arfharim. His heart is always in the right place.
A few seconds later, the door to the dining room swings open in an exaggerated fashion and slams against the wall. Wilbur crouches under the door frame and emerges into the room with a smile and done in an apron of a duck that he has fastened around his armor and weapon.
I'm sorry. I think breakfast is on the floor now.
I roll my eyes as I look towards Obin.
Well, don't worry, take something on the go.
He turns to you.
Arfharim, you will be taking Wilbur with you. He'll serve good protection, and he needs to get out of the house a bit.
Wilbur, grab some of those sausages and rinse them off.
So Wilbur goes back into the kitchen, and after a while he comes out with a grin on his face, ready for the day's adventure.
I'm ready when you are, Arfharim.
Well, then let's be on our way, and remember, we're going to the library. You must be quiet. That booming voice of yours will echo throughout every corner.
Don't worry, it will be okay.
Oh,
Arfharim puts his hands up to his ears and says,
that's precisely what I'm talking about. You have to use your inside voice, Wilbur.
I'm sorry.
Wilbur, on your way out, grab 3 potions from my counter. You never know. The streets are dangerous these days. Those 2 clans keep fighting. I'd rather you keep safe. Anyway, up to it. Don't mind me, I'll fix my own breakfast.
Let's go then.
So what you're doing, you're heading out?
if I know where this library is, having been there quite a few times in the past, I'm heading straight there and in search of Susanna.
Alright, so as you're heading towards the door, you pass by the storefront, and Wilbur grabs those 3 potions. By the way, thank you very much, Neil, for donating said potions, the first donation of the new campaign. And I tell you now, Nick is gonna need them.
Oh shit, I'm getting nervous.
So thank you very much, Neil. And just before you head out, you hear Obin shout again.
Arfharim! I forgot one thing.
Yes, Obin. What is it?
Take the pouch of distribution. You might need it.
You know well that the pouch is hanging on the side of the door as you exit, and it's an item that you will have. If you want to share with the listeners what it does and what it is.
This pouch has an extra dimensional space in its interior. It can hold up to 20 pounds of material, not exceeding a volume of 2 cubic feet. The pouch always weighs 2 pounds, regardless of its contents. Placing an object in the pouch follows the normal rules for interacting with objects. To retrieve an item, you need to think of the item you want as you reach for it. Whilst you hold a pouch, you can say the magical words, "I vouch for this pouch," creating an exact replica of the original pouch. Only 4 replicas of the pouch may exist at any one time. The replicas follow the same rules as the original pouch, with the exception that they themselves cannot create replicas. If a replica is lost or destroyed, it disappears after 1d4 hours. If the original pouch is destroyed, all replicas in existence will disappear, and all items are lost in the extra-dimensional space. The pouch's extra-dimensional space are shared. Any item stored in the original pouch or one of its replicas can be accessed from the original pouch or any one of its replicas.
Yeah, that's a homebrewed item. It's basically a bag of holding with the added novelty that you can share items between party members. I've made it so that it's easier for Nick to keep track of things, because something I found hard to do when I was playing the campaign Nick ran with Shrew and his shrubberies was having each companion that I had hold different items and try to remember who had what and jot it all down. So I thought that maybe with an item like this, Nick can just dump everything in one pouch, and it's explained why everyone would have access to them at the same time.
Sounds amazing to me.
It's shared in D&D Beyond. If you're listening and you want to use it for your own campaigns, feel free to do so. Just type pouch of distribution. Anyway, so you grab the pouch of distribution and you head on out.
Wilbur! Come on! Double speed!
Okay, Arfharim. I run as fast as I can, which is not very fast.
I'm sure his mother must have dropped him on his head as a baby.
You said something?
No. Nothing. Come on, boy.
As you both make the short trip up the high road towards Tarnoth Street and the library, you are met with the bustling city life of Waterdeep. You eventually reach the outskirts of the market, and as you cross the road past Saldown Street, you see 2 City Watch operatives chase and apprehend a cloaked figure.
Oh, those ruffians! Stay close to me, Wilbur.
I will do. I heard the City Watch is a mess because there are 2 groups that are almost at war with each other. The person running from the City Watch must be from one of those groups, Arfharim. The City Guard have their hands full, but still, I could not get in. They didn't want me, Arfharim, even though they need more hands.
Yes, Wilbur. More hands they need, but also more brains. You should dedicate some more hours to your training. Learn from Oben as much as you can. I'm sure next time you will get in.
You mean I need to train my brain?
Yes, fine soldier fights not only with his hands, but also his brain.
And how does a brain train?
By reading.
Reading? Okay, I have a book. It has lots of pictures.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is Wilbur still wearing his ducky apron?
Yeah. Probably. He forgot to take it off in the rush.
Oh, yes, pictures. Much like the ducky on your apron.
Oh yes, isn't it lovely? I like animals.
It's lovely, but you shouldn't let the city guard see you out in the open with that. They'll take you for some fool, boy.
Really? Oh, okay.
And he unfastens it and stashes it in his satchel. Have you used the pouch of distribution? Are you gonna do replicas, or for now you're good?
For now I'm good. Perhaps once I get to the library I'll create a replica. At the moment it's got the 3 potions of healing in them.
Right, so Wilbur grabbed the potions, gave them to you, and you've stashed them in the pouch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A few minutes pass and you reach Tarnoth Street. Immediately to your right you see Susanna, the librarian, seemingly worried, pacing up and down in front of the library. As I said, you know her well already. You've been to the library various times in your errands. And she's a half-elf, which are not very common here in Waterdeep. She has long dark curly hair that subtly flows with her nervous strides. Her tanned skin accentuate the freckles that cover her face and frame her bright hazel eyes. She is a confident woman, apparent by the way she moves and conducts herself. This is the first time that you have ever seen her visibly worried. A short-lived sight, as she stops pacing as soon as she notices you. She immediately locks eyes with you as she flashes a wry smile and begins to walk in your direction, with no hint of worry apparent in her any longer.
Oh, my baby blues still have it.
Arfharim, Wilbur, nice to see you both again.
Always a pleasure to see you, Susanna.
What brings you here to the library?
Well, 2 things. First, a book that Oben has sent me for.
Oh, Oben, how is he doing?
Oh, he's well, but he seems to be acting rather odd lately.
Really?
Yes. And the second one, perhaps you have a book for my friend here. One with less pictures and more words.
Yes, there is a...
And she leans in closer to you.
kids section.
You're looking for picture books?
No. Less pictures.
Oh, less pictures. you want.
Yes.
Yes, well, the library is full of books with less pictures.
But
Arfharim lowers his voice a bit.
something perhaps for his level.
Got you. Yes. There's a kids section, as I said, but with not so many pictures too.
Good.
It's on the second floor, with all the fantasy novels.
Oh, fantasy.
Arfharim gives a sly wink.
Susanna, I couldn't help but see you. A little worried. What's the matter?
Nothing gets by you, does it?
No.
But yes, you are right. You see, a few days ago, strange things have begun occurring in the library. Patrons are claiming to have been assaulted by ghosts.
Ghosts?
Others are reporting that terrible wails can be heard from within the empty aisles between bookshelves. Naturally, customers are fleeing in terror after them.
Some are even cancelling their memberships. If this continues, it will spell certain doom for my business. I am at wit's end. Whatever can I do?
I'm sure it's nothing other than the wind blowing through the stacks of books, but is there anybody inside now?
No one dares enter. And I've been warning people not to be honest. The last thing I want is a major incident inside my library.
Well, somewhat ironically, Oben has sent me for a book on the study of devils, demons, and contracts with mortals.
I'll allow you to go in if you want to, but could you perhaps figure out what's going on?
Yes, like I said, probably nothing more than the wind down the corridors knocking down books and making all sorts of noises.
I hope you're right. I don't have much, but I can give you 2 gold for your troubles.
Oh, no, I couldn't take a coin from you, Susanna.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Wilbur, come on. But before we enter, I vouch for this pouch.
I vouch for the pouch too.
No, don't take it, otherwise this will replicate. You
Oh.
just need one.
Okay.
You remember how it works, yes?
Yes, I just think of something and it comes out.
Yes, but something that's in the bag, remember?
Oh,
At the moment, there's 3 potions of healing. Don't just think about anything.
okay.
And you see him stick the hand in the pouch, squinting one eye, trying very hard to bring something out. He pulls his hand out and nothing comes out.
Oh,
This boy will be the death of me.
I've said that under my breath, hopefully so he can't hear me.
Yeah, he didn't hear you.
So yeah, I want to walk up to the library doors and make my way in.
Okay. So as you leave Susanna's side and step into the library, a faint musty smell fills your nostrils. The library is small and claustrophobic, giving you the feeling that the walls are closing in on you. Suddenly, an unsettling chill settles in the air, an almost unnoticeable drop in temperature that prickles the skin. You hear faint whispers, like the rustling of pages, but when you glance around, there's no one in sight. You feel eyes upon you, an inexplicable sensation of being watched. But every time you turn around, you only see Wilbur. Luckily, he doesn't have the ducky apron anymore. And then, just for a split second, you can swear you heard the softest footfall around you. Delicate, like someone walking softly in slippers. But when you glance about, the room is still. As you face forward once more, the library door slams shut behind you, making Wilbur jump in fright.
oh,
Be careful, Wilbur. Quietly.
oh, I'm scared, Arfharim. What if it's true? What if they're ghosts?
Well, this will be a good opportunity for you to get an accolade that you can show the City Watch.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm going to be brave now, Arfharim.
Something about this place feels slightly off. Ahead of you stand several tall shelves densely packed with books. From left to right, the labels read biographies, creatures, deities and demons, history, poetry, and relationships. Below the poetry sign, a gold plaque reads fiction titles upstairs, which you remember Susanna told you that the fantasies were upstairs also. Beyond the shelves, you can see a large conference table that has been hastily vacated. And this is all from the entrance. You're still there at the doorway. You haven't moved, okay? Chairs from the conference table lie on the floor, knocked over in an apparent attempt to get away from something. A cluster of tables fills the space to your right. Beyond the tables, a small step leads down into a dimly lit reading room. So that's all the way to your right, past some tables. What do you want to do?
Okay, so I want to head over to the shelves entitled Deities and Demons. I want to try and see if I can get that book before investigating the rest of the library, just in case this ghost story is true. I want to make sure that I don't end up having to leave in a rush without the book for Oben.
Very well. So yeah, you make your way there slowly. Further in you get, the colder the room feels. And again, you hear the soft footsteps all around you. When you glance to where you heard them, there's nothing. Stillness. You continue undeterred, although you feel Wilbur ever so closer to you.
Wilbur,
Yes.
there's no need to be so close.
Okay. I'm just protecting you.
Yes, but I can feel your breath on the back of my neck.
I'm sorry.
So you continue the short distance and you reach inside the aisle to where it says Deities and Demons.
Yeah, I want to look for that book. The Study on Devils, Demons, and Contracts with Mortals.
Yeah, sure enough, after a little while, I mean, it's all pretty well indicated. You've been here before, so you know where to look. And after a short while, you find the exact book Obing sent you to get. I mean, you could leave now and mission complete, really.
No. Poor old Susanna.
Right, Wilbur, we have the book.
Yes. Good job. Shall we get going?
No.
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 We promised Susanna we would have a look.
That's true. Well, where to now, Arfharim?
Let's see if we can determine where those footfalls are coming from, or at least where they're heading.
I want to try and perceive if I can hear if there's any sort of discernible pattern to where they're walking, if they're coming from a specific area and following some sort of a route, or if they're just following us, just to get a general sense of perhaps where these are coming from or heading towards.
Very well, roll a perception check.
Ooh, first roll of the
Here we
campaign.
go. Let's see what it is. Will it set the mood for high rolls, or will it be low ones?
Not too shabby. It's a total of 17.
Ooh, very nice. As you remain still and silent, trying to hear out for any more footsteps. It takes a while, but it seems to be coming from random directions. Pretty much any time you look one way, you hear a rustle here, footsteps over there. And when you look towards the noise, it stops. It seems to be trying to frighten you, trying to gain your attention, but there doesn't seem to be a discernible pattern to them, or a direction.
Wilbur,
Yes?
let's see if the footsteps follow us. Let's head over to the reading room.
Okay. You lead the way.
So yeah, I want to go down that little step and into the reading room that you described before. I think it's to my right, if I'm reading the map correctly.
Yeah, if you continue past the bookshelves where you got the book from, you will reach a conference table, the one I described before, with the chairs knocked over. And then if you turn right, you'll see the stairs to the second floor. And beyond that, you have a step that leads down to the reading room. So you want to do that?
Yeah, but as I walk past the conference table, I want to have a look and see if there's anything of interest. Any books that perhaps they've been reading, or if the patrons there have left anything as they've gone in a hurry.
Okay. So as you begin to make your way to the conference table, you come out of the narrow aisle of bookshelves. As you approach the table, you feel a chill grip your body, as if there has been an even larger sudden drop of temperature. Presence seems to be lingering, giving you an unshakable feeling of being watched. As you get closer to the table, the chill dissipates, and you feel that whatever might have been lingering has now moved on. The table is a dark-built wood conference table that has obviously been deserted with great haste. Fruits and stale bread rest next to several books lying open. There's a small and fastened leather pouch that sits on top of a closed book. So that's what you see there.
Okay, I want to have a look at that pouch, see what it is.
So you're picking it up?
Yep.
All right, you pick it up. You look in it, and you can see it contains 10 silver pieces and a shopping list. It's a shopping list for mundane items. And at the end of the shopping list, you can make out a handwritten note.
What does the note say?
It says, "Make sure you don't lose the money this time. Love, Mum."
All right, so I put it back on top of the book.
You're not going to take the 10 silver?
No.
You're saving this kid's behind
Yeah.
from a slapping.
I want to check on Tammy as well, because this unsettling feeling. Just want to make sure my new little pet bird is settled well in her new little birdhouse.
She's kind of retreated inside the little birdhouse, and she hasn't peeked out for a while. She senses something in the room, something foreboding. She seems a bit nervous, a bit agitated, and she won't come out.
I stick my fingers in gently and sort of give her a little scratch on the back of her neck.
You stick your fingers into Tammy's box, right?
Yeah. It's my sister, man.
She feels reassured and settles down a bit, but she still remains in a little birdhouse.
Okay, so I'm just going to head on past the spiral staircase then and into the reading room, with Wilbur following me close behind.
All right. As you step down into the dim reading room, you hear heavy footsteps from the floor above you that seem to mimic your own. As you move, they move, until they eventually die down and you can't hear them any longer. You want to look around in this room?
Whatever it is, Wilbur, seems to be coming from upstairs.
I've been hearing it all over the place, Arfharim. Maybe there's more than one ghost.
Quite possibly. Or some childish prank by some patron, trying to scare the others.
I hope you're right.
Come now, up we go.
And Arfharim's not wasting any time. He wants to
You want to straight up.
go straight up.
All right. So you turn around and walk up the step. A bit further on to your right, you have the flight of stairs. So you begin walking up a few steps. You hear the creak underfoot, especially when Wilbur steps on them. They're quite old stairs, quite rickety.
Quietly, Wilbur.
I'm sorry.
After a few more steps, suddenly you hear a kind of loud click, and the stairs immediately turn into a slide.
What? Has this ever happened in the library?
Not that you know of, no. Not to you, at least. And both you and Wilbur send it tumbling down. As you look again, the stairs return to normal.
I told you to watch your step, Wilbur.
I'm sorry. But
Look what you've done.
I start brushing my...
you were in front of me, Arfharim.
Well, you must have stepped on something.
Okay. Shall we try again?
Wait, let me have a look first. I don't want your oafish feet triggering anything else.
I want to search for traps, I guess.
Roll an investigation.
That's an 11 plus 4, 15.
So you look around and you can't really see anything out of the normal. You see that at the bottom of the stairs, there's a sign nailed to the bottom newel post of the staircase, like the main post of the staircase, that reads fantastical fiction with an arrow pointing upwards, like, you know, that's where you can find the fiction segment, but you don't see anything out of the norm. No mechanisms or anything that would turn the stairs into a slide.
I'd like to do an Arcana check then, see if there's anything magical around here that perhaps I've missed.
Around the stairs, or in general you want to do a little scout of the...
Around the stairs.
Okay, roll an intelligence Arcana check.
It's a total of 11.
I mean, it seems kind of odd to you. You don't really pick up anything magical per se. There's a little bit of maybe a residue, you know, but nothing that would suggest the stairs are magical either.
Doesn't seem to be anything untoward here. Right, Wilbur, let's try again. This time, hold on tightly to the balustrade.
And holding on tight, anticipating that the stairs may give way again.
Okay.
We're going to start making our way up.
So again, you start walking up, and again, the stairs turn into a slide. You're trying to hold on this time. So roll me an athletics or dexterity check.
All right, so athletics or acrobatics then?
Yeah, that's right, sorry.
Okay, we'll go with acrobatics because, believe it or not, at 120 years of age, Arfharim's not very strong.
Roll for Wilbur as well.
All right, so this first one is for...
Actually, sorry, roll for you first.
Okay.
And then, depending what happens, depending on what Wilbur will have to roll.
Okay. Ooh, it's a total of 19.
Oof, nice.
That's for Arfharim, just to...
Okay,
clarify.
so roll for Wilbur now.
Wilbur, total of 4.
Okay. So you hold on fast, and as soon as the stairs turn into a slide, you're able to stay there, holding without much of a problem. But you soon realize, both by the cry that Wilbur makes and the sound as he hits the bottom of the library floor yet again, that he wasn't so successful, and he slid all the way down, banging his head on one of the shelves, knocking it over partially.
Oh, Arfharim. I'm sorry.
I told you to be careful and to hold tight, boy.
I tried. I'm a bit heavy.
Well, what are you doing on the floor? Up you get. Come on.
I'm going to try and, holding on tight, sort of shuffle my way up the rest of the stairs.
Okay, he's gonna try and do the athletics. Again, this time I'll say with disadvantage just because he has to get onto the slide. You know, like when you were a kid. I mean, when we're children, everything's easier. But when you try to get on a slide directly, the initial run-up is quite harder. But this is the same kind of thing. It would be easier if you're already there holding, rather than having to now do a little run-up and grab on.
So with disadvantage, yeah?
Yeah.
Come on, Wilbur, don't fall again. It's a total of 5. Slightly better.
Slightly better. But yeah, he runs up with all his might. He's not a very fast or agile guy. His first step just fails him as he slips and bangs his face right on the slide.
Arfharim, I can't do this. There must be another way.
Aye. If I leave you to your wits to find another way, it'll be a century before you get upstairs.
I'm sorry.
Let's see if there's another passage, perhaps one that's evaded me all these years.
I let go and try and skillfully sort of slide down the stairs.
Yeah, you just let go and Actually, roll me an acrobatics check to see if you can slide down on your feet. You're 120, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Total of 14.
yeah, without a problem. You're a bit hesitant at the start, but when you let go, you've got a good footing and you slide down like if you were riding a wave down to the very bottom, hop off, and as soon as you do, the stairs go back to stairs.
All right, so I want to investigate the library, looking for any sort of hidden mechanisms or perhaps a secret pathway that leads us upstairs as well.
Okay, so which of the aisles do you want to explore? There was the aisle that read biographies, creatures, you've got the deities and demons you already looked at, history, poetry, and relationships.
I mean, I'm guessing there's not going to be something hidden amongst the books themselves. Unless it's like one of those Scooby-Doo things where you pull a book and it triggers something. I can't help but notice that fireplace as well. Fighting every temptation to go climbing up it.
The fireplace, because Nick is looking at the map, that's not a fireplace. It's a window where it has this kind of deep windowsill, like a little cubby where you can sit in.
Oh, damn it. Alright, I guess I'll start looking through the aisles one by one. So I'll start with the first aisle.
Okay, as you make your way towards the towering bookshelves once more, the eerie silence of the library is disrupted by your footsteps as they click across the sun-bleached, scratched wooden floors. The chilling sound of faint whispers can be heard again as you make your way towards the biography section. As you make your way in, it's pretty much a normal bookshelf. There's not much going on here that you can see at the moment. Do you want to investigate this area further, or you want to move on?
I mean, if there's nothing that stands out to me immediately, and these bookshelves, do they go all the way up to the ceiling, or like are they connected to the building itself, or are they sort of like freestanding?
No, they're freestanding, and at the top of this one in particular, because you can notice, this probably would catch your eye. You notice that all the bookshelves are neatly stacked, neatly put away, but there is this thin leather-bound book that is placed precariously on top of several others. It's the only one that's out of place that would probably jump out to you, having already been through the demons and deities section, and now this one. It's the only book you've seen out of place. And you've been here in the library various times, and it is normally a very well-kept and organized library.
I want to grab that book then.
So you retrieve the book. A sudden gust of wind rushes down the aisle. The wind halts abruptly as it reaches the end of the aisle, leaving behind an eerie, deathly silence that settles heavily over the library. You want to look at the book?
Yeah, what's the book called?
The book is called The Hauntingly True Tale of Timothy Tooth.
Timmy!
Timmy?
Show yourself! Is that you? Quit playing games!
You don't hear anything. It's a weird feeling of someone watching you, but there's nothing there.
Can I sense where they're watching me from, or?
It's this, like you turn around, there's nothing there, but you feel you're being watched.
Alright, I want to skim through the pages, see if there's anything in this book.
Okay. The preface of the book greets you with a warning. Reader beware. The secrets contained within speak of a history, both grim and beautiful. For such was the life of the great Timothy Tooth, one of our century's most important, and consequentially most forgotten authors. Do not be deceived as to believing my own tale to be one of idle speculation or worse, gossip. No, dear reader. I have inside knowledge, you see. This man, Timothy Tooth, while he seemed as ordinary as you or I, did not solely transcribe wonders onto the blank page. He brought them to life. So you skim a bit more. The book starts with the early life of Timothy. You learn he was born in Waterdeep to a humble family, and as a young boy, Timothy Tooth was plagued by vivid, terrifying nightmares, which later became the foundation of his Chimera's Curse trilogy. As you skim further along, you find a chapter that talks about Timothy's lust for all things adventure. Yet his reserved nature clashed with his dreams of ever living the life of an adventurer. This sparked his passion for writing, propelling him into crafting daring and fantastical tales. Then further along, the biography spends a great deal of time recounting Tooth's despair at his scant readership. The end of the biography takes a strange turn as the anonymous author hypothesizes that it was Tooth's harrowing stories themselves that brought about his death. He speculates that Timothy was desperate to generate more interest in his book, so he employed the power of magic to increase sales. He would make the pages of his book literally come to life in order to wow audiences across Waterdeep. He conjured all manner of beasts, from fire-clad gnomes to ravenous tigers and screeching mountain guardians. Tragically, one of the creatures he summoned dragged Timothy into the books with it, both never to be seen again. The 3 books he was showcasing that day fell into obscurity together with Timothy Tooth himself.
Does this book state what those 3 books were? I mean, there's a fantasy section upstairs. This guy was writing stories. He wanted them to be read. Perhaps I can find one of those books, assuming as Arfharim is at the moment that if there is a ghost, it might be old Timmy, and maybe he is a little perturbed that people aren't checking out his books.
Yes, as you read it, or you skimmed through it, when there was mention of the Chimera's Curse trilogy, he also wrote that the first book was called First Blood, the second Chance, and the third book was Third Time's the Curse. If you want to know where they are shelved, you know that Susanna's outside, you can maybe ask her as well.
Well, assuming they're fiction, they should be upstairs.
Timmy, if it's you, I've seen here you want people to read your book. Is that why you're being a little naughty? If you let me upstairs, I can check them out and read them.
Turn thee back. Turn thee back.
And that's where we're going to leave it.
What? What was he said? Take me back?
Turn thee back.
Turn thee back.
Basically, Old English, or turn around, leave. Turn thee back. And that's where we're going to leave the maiden episode of The Road to Baldur's Gate. Hope you've enjoyed that.
Well, I have.
I'm glad you have. And if you want to find out what's going to happen, make sure to tune in next week for the second episode.
If you can't wait a whole week, make sure you visit our website www.i2td.com, where you can find the links there to all our good stuff, our social media, our Discord server. Why not join and pop by and say hello? You can also click on the little coffee cup, and that takes you to our Buy Me a Coffee page, where you can make a one-off donation and purchase a potion like our good friend Neil did. Thank you very much for that, Neil.
Thank you.
That's a way for you to not only support the podcast itself, but it's also a fun way where you can actually shape the adventures we play and be a part of the stories we tell, because your potions will appear in game, as you've seen today. This brings us on now to the end of the episode club,
The last one standing.
where we give you a password, and you can use it any way you can comment, your podcast player of choice, on YouTube, Discord, tag us on X or Instagram. It's just a fun way for us to know who stayed to the very end of the episode.
That's right.
Have you got a password for us today on your maiden campaigner's DM?
Yeah, the password this week is A Whale of a Time. We might have used it before, I'm not sure.
It might have been an episode name.
Maybe, yeah. It's in reference to the very last part of the campaign where the apparent ghost wailed out,
Turn thee back.
Turn thee back. So yeah, A Whale of a Time. Use it in the comment section and we'll make sure to read them and enjoy them.
So there you have it. That's the first episode of The Road to Baldur's Gate. Make sure you tune in next week as we delve into the dungeon.